Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into some of the unseen rules that quietly run our world. And trust me, it's a wild ride. We're going to start with something simple, a price tag, and by the end we'll be asking what it even means to be alive. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, let's kick things off with just one number, 92 lakh rupees. Now, for those of you thinking in dollars, that's well over 100,000 US dollars. And no, that's not for a fancy car or, I don't know, a down payment on a house. Get this, it's the price for a single pair of earphones.
Right away, you have to ask, right? Why on earth would anyone buy these? I mean, is the sound quality made of actual gold? What could possibly justify that kind of price? Well, the funny thing is, the answer has almost nothing to do with how they sound.
So it turns out the price has almost zero to do with performance. These things are made in France with 18-karat gold and diamonds. They're not designed for, amazing audio quality. No, they're designed to be a pure status symbol. Their real job isn't to play music, it's to scream to the world, I am powerful enough to own these.
And this whole idea, right, that what we think is true can be way more powerful than what is true. That's not just for super rich people buying fancy stuff. A huge retailer actually tested this exact idea on regular customers. And, well, the results were pretty shocking.
Okay, so back in 2012, this company, JCPenney, tried something, well, kind of radical. They called it fair and square pricing. Basically, they got rid of all the fake sales, the crazy inflated price tags, and just offered stuff at an honest, low price. So what happened? Sales absolutely tanked. The CEO even got fired. So they went back to the old way. They'd take something that costs $1,000, slap a $2,000 price tag on it, and then offer a huge 50% off discount. And guess what? Sales shot right back up and even started to grow.
So what does this tell us? It points to this really weird truth about how our brains are wired. We don't just want a fair price. We crave the feeling of winning, of getting a deal, even if that deal is totally fake. It's almost like, on some level, we want to be lied to.
Now, this gap between what we perceive and what's real, it goes way beyond just shopping. So let's zoom out a bit. Let's look at the entire timeline of humanity. Because you'll see the problems that feel so permanent and huge to us right now, they often look pretty temporary when you look at the big picture of history.
Here's a great example. Think about a simple problem that tons of us have. Bad eyesight, blurry vision. Today, no big deal, right? We've got glasses, contacts, surgery. But for almost all of human history, what did you do if you couldn't see well?
The answer is pretty much nothing. For thousands and thousands of years, if you had poor eyesight, that was just it. It was this chronic, unfixable thing you just had to deal with. It wasn't until 1290, which is really not that long ago, that eyeglasses were invented in Italy. And that one invention changed everything. What used to be a life-changing disability just became an inconvenience.
And when you think about it like that, it brings up a really powerful question. In, say, 200 years, will people look back at us and think, wow, can you believe they were so scared of cancer? Maybe, just maybe, the diseases that terrify us today will seem as simple to solve as blurry vision is to us.
But here's the thing, it's not just our solutions that evolve. We will too. I mean, just like the dinosaurs, our time on this planet isn't infinite. Eventually, humanity will probably go extinct. And evolution, it'll just get back to work on whatever's next. Some scientists imagine new intelligent reptiles taking over. Others have theories that are even wilder, like future humans evolving to be the size of ants, where our world would seem as huge to them as a solar system.
Of course, the future of our species is completely tied to the future of our planet. So let's zoom out again, this time to a planetary scale, and let's ask a pretty important question. Just how tough is this system that keeps all of us alive?
All right, let's do a little thought experiment. What if, tomorrow, every single tree on Earth was cut down? Gone. How long do you think we could last on the oxygen that's already in the air? A few days? A few weeks, maybe?
Well, according to the simulations, the answer is surprisingly specific. We'd have about 1 year. That's it. After that, the whole planetary air system just collapses. So yeah, we have a backup supply, but wow, it is dangerously small.
Thinking about how fragile our world is kind of leads to the next big question. Could we build a new one somewhere else? Like, could you actually grow a plant in Martian soil? And the answer is, kinda yes. The soil on Mars actually has good stuff in it, like phosphorus and potassium. The big problem is that it's also loaded with these toxic chemicals called perchlorates. But if you could somehow filter those out, then yeah, you could totally grow a plant in it.
So we're clever enough to maybe start life on other worlds. That's amazing.
But now, let's take our last big leap, all the way out to the cosmic scale. Out where the forces at play are just on a whole other level, completely beyond our control.
Think about our sun. Because of its massive gravity, it's basically the biggest target in the whole solar system. It is getting hit by asteroids and comets constantly, way more than any planet. From our point of view, it looks like a nonstop attack from space.
But to the sun, all those impacts are nothing. They're totally insignificant. What we'd call a planet-killing catastrophe is basically just a light snack for a star. It's almost like the sun is just sitting there going, "Bring it on."
And yet, even the sun's power is tiny compared to some of the other stuff happening out there. I mean, NASA just saw a jet of plasma shoot out of a black hole, and this jet was 3,000 light-years long. It's hard to even wrap your head around that. To put it in perspective, that's like traveling from the Earth to the Moon and back 3.7 billion times.
Okay, after that trip to the absolute edge of the cosmos, let's pull our focus all the way back in, from the biggest things imaginable to the smallest. We're going to end with a question that kind of shakes the very foundation of, well, everything.
And this entire journey, believe it or not, was kicked off by a really deep question from one of you. It points out something that's super simple, completely logical, and also really, really weird when you think about how we see ourselves.
Okay, so everything in the entire universe, you, me, the chair you're sitting on, the stars, it's all made of atoms, right? And an atom, which is our most basic building block, isn't alive. It has no awareness, no consciousness, no life force. It's just stuff.
Which brings us to the final mind-bending question. If we are just a big, complicated pile of trillions of non-living particles, then what does it even mean to be alive? Are we actually living things? Or are we just a very complex arrangement of non-living stuff that, for a little while, has figured out how to think? And that question, that's where the line between science and philosophy gets really blurry, leaving us to wonder about the biggest unseen rule of all, the rule of our own existence.